Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for that introduction, Tim. It'd be good to introduce your investors to the Platina gold story. So, Platina Resources is a 31 million market cap company. We control a portfolio of precious, specialty, and base metal projects and investments. And in the last 12 months, we've implemented a new strategy in the company to become a West Australian focused gold explorer. And as part of that strategy, we've been divesting some of our investments, out some of our assets and converting them into investments. And they're currently worth nearly $28 million. And this makes us really unique because we're going to be able to fund all of our West Australian gold exploration activities without having to dilute our share capital structure. Next slide, please. So I'm working with a board of directors. We've got a lot of experience in working with early stage exploration projects, moving them through drilling, feasibility, towards development, and looking at ways of monetizing those assets. Our chairman, Brian Moeller, he's been actively involved with a lot of junior companies, and that includes SolGold, which has now discovered the second largest copper deposit in the last 10 years. And before I joined Platina, I worked quite actively with both Gustavo and Simon Atwell from our technical team. In particular, Gustavo, we were involved in the discovery and development of a lithium project for Scandium mining in Quebec. We did about 20,000 meters of drilling in that deposit and converted a 400,000 market cap company into a company that's well over $100 million market cap today. Next slide, please. So our key value drivers that are going to create value for this company are our exploration upside that's going to come from our gold properties and also our palladium investments. And we're going to explore those projects by selling our investments as they grow, and that minimizes our future equity dilution. And we still have some assets in our portfolio where we're looking to unlock value for shareholders. Next slide, please. We've got some great tailwinds behind us at the moment as we embark on our new strategy. We've seen fantastic pricing for platinum this year, for gold. Palladium's hit record prices of nearly $3,000 an ounce, and we've seen rhodium up near $30,000 an ounce. So it's been a fantastic year for the metals that we have strong exposure to. Next slide, please. So our strategy is really simple. We're just targeting world-class mineral provinces in Western Australia. We've got one project in the Yilgarn Craton. It's a proven world-class gold province. It's got excellent infrastructure for both exploration and development. And we've also recently signed a conditional term sheet for the Xanadu gold project, which is actually in the Ashburton Basin. It's nestled between the Yilgarn and the Pilbara Craton. It's got a number of significant world-class deposits, but it's an area that we believe is very underexplored and has a lot of potential. Next slide, please. So last month we signed a conditional deal to acquire the Xanadu gold project. It's a project covering nearly 500 square kilometres. It's 38 kilometres from the major mining service centre of Paraburdoo, so we're going to have very cheap logistics. It's adjacent. It's only 7 kilometres away from the Mount Olympus 1.65 million ounce resource. It's already had 350,000 ounces mined out of it. So it's a really attractive region. Next slide, please. So the project's been, Xanadu's been explored before. We believe it's been pretty poorly explored. A lot of the drilling's quite shallow, and it was focused around building up a resource for a small heap leach project that compiled nearly 300,000 tonnes of ore at 1.8 grams. But you can see from some of this historical drilling that there's some fantastic intersections, 13 meters at 4 grams, 12 meters at 5. What we want to do is come through and systematically explore this property package and do it some justice. Next slide, please. So what makes this project really attractive is that we're on a major structural setting. We're adjacent to a significant multi-million ounce gold deposit. There's widespread gold mineralization across the package in a really exciting and large intense hydrothermal alteration zone. We think we've got very favorable rocks here for the discovery of both a large oxide gold system near surface, and at a later date we want to come back and start exploring at deeper levels and trying to understand where all of this oxide mineralizations come from. And we're just going to do that with a systematic program of geochemistry, geophysics, and drilling. And then we've also got about 25 kilometers of that major structural setting to explore at some point in the future as well. Next slide, please. We also control the 100% of the Challa Project. Challa's in the Yilgarn. We've got nearly 300 square kilometers across 2 tenements. It's in a prolific gold producing district between Mount Magnet, Youanmi, and Sandstone. It's an area that hasn't really had a lot of exploration because it's got a shallow level of outcrop across it, and you have to find some techniques to look through that cover and target the major deposits. Next slide, please. What I really like about this project, particularly our Challa West tenement, is that we've got greenstone rocks which are traversed by the Challa Shear Zone, which is the host to some million ounce deposits to the north. So what we're doing is a massive soil program across both of our tenements. We've done more than 3,000 samples. We're currently in the process of compiling that data, and that'll generate targets for a planned RAB drilling program that hopefully we can start in the next 4 to 8 weeks. Next slide, please. We also have some other valuable projects in our portfolio. We have a 30% interest in Money, and we've just completed a drilling program there. There's a large deposit of palladium, platinum, gold, and rhodium at Money, and we're currently working with our joint venture partner to move that project towards a JORC 2012 compliant resource. And we're also looking at some options how we can monetize that project to the benefit of our shareholders. We also recently pegged the Naira project, and what we believe we have here is an analogous setting to the Julmar nickel PGE discovery, about 500 kilometers to the south. We think we're on the right structure. We've got the right rocks, and when that's granted in a couple of months, we'll start testing that with soil sampling and geophysics. And we also control the Platina Scandium project. We've got 100% interest of that. It's in New South Wales. It's one of the world's largest and highest grade scandium deposits. We completed a definitive feasibility study in 2018, demonstrating very favorable economics for the project. And the next critical step to getting that project is to identify offtake or investment partners, and that's a process that we've been working through, and we'll continue to look for options to monetize that in the near term. Next slide, please. We've got a $16 million investment over a 10-year period into our Scandium project. We don't believe we're getting any value in our market capitalization for that project. This slide shows you 2 pure play scandium companies with only scandium assets, Imperial Mining and Scandium International, which have 31 and 81 million market caps. We've got a 31 million market cap, including all of those other assets and investments in our portfolio. And then there's a number of other nickel, cobalt, scandium companies that also have significantly higher market capitalizations than Platina. Next slide, please. So just a quick recap on our investments. Our key investment is our 49 million shares in Major Precious Metals. It's worth nearly $24 million. We're expecting big things from Major this year. They've just put out one of the world's largest palladium resources outside of Russia and South Africa. It's nearly 20 million ounces palladium equivalent. They're just gearing up to do a massive 12,500 meter drilling program, which will enable them to complete a feasibility study. So we're expecting big things from that investment this year. And then we also have two smaller investments in Blue Moon Metals and Nelson Resources that we can monetize over time. But we are expecting both of those companies to have drill success. Nelson's drilling right to completing a cap raise. Next slide, please. So just recapping, we've got a 31.5 million market cap. We've got nearly $25 million in investments, $3.2 million cash, which funds our exploration activities in the near term. And we can realize some of those investments to improve our cash position without diluting shareholders. And what this is telling us is that all of our WA gold assets of $3.5 million, which we think is just very, very low. Next slide, please. So we're going to be looking to unlock that value. We'll be planning on drilling programs at Challa and Xanadu, both in the second half of this year. As soon as Mount Nara gets granted, we'll start our exploration activities there. And we're looking at both new gold acquisition opportunities in Western Australia, continuing to unlock the value to the benefit of to our shareholders of those other assets that we have in our portfolio, and funding all those activities by realizing cash from our investments without diluting shareholders. So thank you.
I'll ask some questions if you're ready.
Sure.
So why did you kind of pivot the company to focus on early stage gold exploration, given your asset base there and your other assets?
Yeah, look, what we believe really adds value is exploration and discovery, and I think there's really two great examples that we've seen in the last 12 months. That's De Grey Mining with their Hemi project, and we've seen Chalice with their Julmar discovery, and that's created multi-billion market caps. And there's plenty of other good examples of companies doing extremely well in the last 12 months by going back to drilling and taking projects through feasibility. We haven't given up on our other assets. They're just that they're going to take some time to monetize.
And that includes your New South Wales Scandium project. You'll still go ahead with that?
Look, that's the critical part of that is securing the offtake. We consider that project kind of a medium-term project. We've got to find the right customer or investor who can help us find a way to get that product to market, so that we can finance and build that project. So it's just going to take a bit of time, because the scandium market today is quite small. And that's the challenge.
And if you look at it, you've got a market cap of say 31 million. You've got 27 million of cash and other assets. Will you look to spin off some of those assets if the market value isn't realised in your share price? And do you look to sell some of those assets, a platinum asset, given where the commodity price is?
Yeah, look, so that's exactly what we're looking at doing, and I guess the best example of our success there is that last year we divested our project in Greenland. We sold that to Major Precious Metals. We secured $500,000 on closing that transaction and 55 million shares in that company. We recently sold 6 million shares and realized $2.75 million in cash, so we can use that to fund our other activities. And we're still sitting on 49 million shares worth nearly $26 million. So that's been a great example of how we can unlock value from our other assets, and we'll continue to pursue opportunities only if they can add value to shareholders.